Hey, what's up, Wargamers? Welcome back to World of Wargaming. Today we're going to take a quick run through the colors that I used to paint this group of Aeternus Continuum for Privateer Press's new-ish game, Warcaster. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button yet, please do that for me. It helps me out. It helps me be able to create more content for you. If you'd like to go even further in helping out the channel, there is a link down below in the description to both my Instagram account for the channel as well as Patreon if you'd like to collect some cool rewards and help us grow as a channel and as a content creator and content provider. With that out of the way, let's get into some of these colors. Starting off on these models, first thing we want to do is prime the whole thing black. With everything primed up nice and dark and flat black, we're going to go in with a Dawnstone gray, a light gray, and put our highlights on that black, on those black bits. These detail bits, this color was the hardest part of this entire project for me to nail down. The color that I used is Necromantic Flesh from the Army Painter. But I had to paint these models a couple of times using different tans and grays because I was missing the color. And what happens here is that because we have this very, very pale green next to these spots of bright red, with those two being complementary colors, colors that are across from each other on the color wheel, when we put them beside each other, that bright red is going to gray out that pale green even more, and it was making it look like it was a tan or a light gray. And finally, it dawned on me that, oh, the red is graying out this very pale green and making it look like a different color than it actually is. But this is definitely Necromantic Flesh with a wash of Known Oil or Army Painter dark tone on top of it, and then another edge highlight, tiny highlight of the Necromantic Flesh. For all these few small minor leather bits, I went with a Mournfang Brown with a wash of dark tone on top of it. If you wanted to take this a step further, you could very easily give it a quick, easy highlight with a rat skin flesh or a scrag brown or something like that. But these are kind of cyberpunky, so I want them to look a little bit dirtier than that. Yeah, so any brown that you have, though, will work. It does not have to be Mournfang. You could go with a darker brown like a Doom Bull or a Rhinox Hide. You could start off from a lighter brown like a Scrag or a Deathclaw or something. It's all dependent on what you want it to look like and what you have at your painting desk. For all these little red inserts that are scattered all over these models, I used Mephiston Red, and I thinned it down to soup. If you're curious as to what that looks like, you can take a look at my video for painting a lot of bases really fast. Put the link right up here in the corner. And that'll give you an idea of the consistency we're looking for here. And just soup it up, use a detail brush, and just lay it in there. It should flow and spread out and fill those recesses for you with minimal work on your part. Now, for the red drapery on what I assume is the leader of this unit, a few extra layers there. So we based that out with a layer of corn red and then pulled a layer of Mephiston Red over it where some of the light would be hitting on, and then finally an edge highlight or a bright highlight of Mars Red from the Army Painter. An equivalent in GW would be, what is it, Wild Rider, Wild Scarlet, something along those lines. For all my metal and steel and iron bits, I like to just take silver, in this case it's gunmetal from the Army Painter, and I like to just dry brush that straight over my black. Now you can absolutely go in and actually full on paint the whole thing with your silver and then give it a wash, but I find that when I just dry brush that silver over the black, it gives me a texture and a look that I find more appealing. It better suits my aesthetic for the models. If you're not really sure about dry brushing or what that is or how to do it, take a look at that link right there up in the top corner. It'll give you some quick direction on using that dry brush technique. Last but not least, we have the base. So the base is a couple of colors. The first thing that I laid down was Shyish Purple, the contrast color from Games Workshop Citadel range. And then I did some wet contrast blending. Now, when I do that, that works a little bit differently than using a wet palette. If you'd like to see how I do that, take a look at this link for this model that I painted for my Reign in Hell solo campaign. But once we get that on, while it's still wet, I took a lighter purple, like a Xerxes type purple, and went around the edges, blended that in real well, and then I took a bright magenta right around the edges and blended that in to give me a little bit of a highlight on the edges, and then just went around the rims with some Army Painter matte black. And that does it for this quick color guide for Privateer Press's new game Warcaster and this unit of Aeternus Continuum. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so. If you haven't hit that bell, hit that too. That way you get notifications when all the new hotness drops. Have a great day. Thank you for spending some time with me today painting, and may the dice be ever in your favor.